We're going to do the pledge one more time.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Okay, so we have some routine items that we need to get approved. Just need a motion to accept the minutes of the regular meeting of April 8th, as well as accept and order file the minutes of the Committee on Special Education for the dates listed, and accept and order file the minutes of the Committee on Preschool Education and Special Education. Do we have a motion? Amanda, seconded by? Megan, all in favor? Opposed? That carries. I just need a motion to accept the minutes on the special board meeting on April 22nd. Do we have a motion? Amanda, seconded by? Crystal, all in favor? Opposed? That carries. Now we go to public comments. Jane.
I'm here this evening because, I'm going to sit down. Okay, so I didn't copy enough, so I'm going to go every other. If you'll just share for tonight, and then I can make extra copies. Okay, and then I'm so highly optimistic, I'm going to give you this piece of bookkeeping paperwork, because you might need that later.
Okay.
I
love it.
Okay, so I'm sorry that I'm here tonight on the budget meeting, but my timeline got sped up, and I was taught how to turn on a dime. So, sometimes you're better under pressure. So the reason that I'm here is because, as you know, our family started a foundation, the A-Titan Sporting Foundation. And we have an extremely generous community of people that support our organization. And we have our next initiative. I have 2 goals. So my next goal is air rifle in the schools, because we've learned that it is another program that is highly inclusive, very successful, very safe, and it reaches even more kids than high school playtime, and they have more success. The long-term goal, maybe we can do this for 5 years, are biathlon teams. So we'll sit back and we'll wait. But anyway, so what I handed out to you is just some information. So in air rifle, and I'll try to go through this really fast. There's 4-H, which is an option outside of school. There is an organization called SAR, Student Air Rifle Program. And then there is SSF, so Scholastic Sporting. So 4-H is out of the school. Scholastic Sporting is the mega organization. It costs lots of money, and then the whole industry is behind it. A lot of obligation, a lot of expense. SAR is that middle-of-the-road, easily adaptable program like high school play party. And so it started in Missouri. Now it's in 11 schools. Mohawk Valley Christian Academy is the inaugural school in New York State. It was modeled after the NASP program, the National Archery in the Schools. So there was curriculum-based, 4th grade through 12th grade. I have spoken twice to the president, Mr. Jake Hinman, and I mentioned what we do in the area with high school play target. From my first conversation to my second, they're seeing that as a really good model, and they may move to something along that, which we love because it's really user-friendly. So they're growing toward that. So it's designed as a gym activity. You'll see their standard equipment. So Student Air Rifle has a beginner package for the school. I'm going to fast forward to the 3rd page. Just to give you an idea, this is the order form of an initial package. And then the last page is a supplementary packet. What our goal to do until our funds run out is to fund the initial startup package for a school that will take this program on. So if you'll see, it's $35.57 on the first page. On the second page, $110 for basic instructor information and training. So Ace Miami Sporting Foundation will pay somewhere about $3,700 to fund the startup kit so that you can have this in your school. And we're going to do this for as many schools as we can. Bolton is completely on board. I only had to put that off because Tim corresponded that. So we're a year behind on them. They're totally on board. We have interest in Whitehall. I believe Argyle also. So it's kind of the same thing that we did with high school play target. The inaugural schools that jump on are going to get the funding first, and then we'll just keep, if this happens, it could be our core focus for fundraising until we, to reach more schools. With high school play target, we are up to about 22 schools during the year. I don't know if you're aware, but the Foothills Challenge that occurs between your regular season and the state shoot in Cicero is the second largest shooting competition in New York State, only to the state. So we have, that one-day event is the second largest event in the state. And it's held in Hudson. So, this is just some basic information. You'll see that I put on the bottom a YouTube. They have a great little 3-minute promo video. The other thing is, when I spoke to Mr. Hinman from Southern or from Student Air Rifle, there's a certification for the instructor component, and they usually do it out of state. So I said to him, when we brought high school play target on, we did it en masse. If we could do something like that where multiple schools came on at once, would you train up here? And he said absolutely. So he has confirmed that he will come up to this area to train. We'll try to get as many schools on board at once to train everybody. We're looking for, so am I optimistic? Would I like you to do it in the 25-26 school year? Yes, I'd like to really seriously consider it. And I'll do like we did with Southern Adirondack High School. Our group of volunteers will do everything that we can do to help facilitate an easy transition. And the one thing in talking to this gentleman is, can you do this? Yes. Could you do this? Yes. It has those components that we say, well, we can't do this. Can do this. So he's very easy to work with. So he will come up. What I am looking for also is, what he suggested to me was to find a host school for the training, and what he would want to do, he'd like to do it early August. That fits our schedule too. Hopefully it can fit yours. And he would like to order the startup kit and have it at the host school prior to the beginning of August, so that he can use all that equipment to train. The pellets are non-lead. These are not firearms. They are not ammunition. They are safe. They are using them in schools all across the country. And these schools had rifle teams when they were shooting 22s successfully too. So, it's all about how you train these kids. And I have to tell you, it's like anything. You tell a kid you can't do it. And that's what they've done with our sport. You can't do it. And they want to prove that they can. And they have. And we have phenomenal stories across all the school districts. And I hope that you feel you have good stories here. But, when you talk about a school, when you're talking about inclusiveness, there is nothing that is more inclusive for all your student body than these types of sports. It teaches them a discipline that once they get into it, they realize the power of what they're doing. And these kids, this will be their legacy going up. And I hope that in my conversation about what describes you, what is your legacy for the school? How successful is this school going to be? And what things are we going to do? Now, I told my high school soccer coach this, so my female soccer coach, her husband coached the guy, and he passed through the store last week. I said, I'm coming, Doc. I'm coming for you, because you don't have a range, but you have a gym. And we were talking, and I said, you know, when I was in school, and I may have said this to you, but I'm going to say it again, none of our teachers said to us, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. They said, if you want to do it right, Karen, this is how you do it. And they told us the right way to do it, and we did it. And our class had huge successes that gave us, you know, a wheelhouse of things to be able to do in our lives. And I don't want to cheat any kid out of that. And I don't like teachers that are afraid to teach. And I hope none of you are. I hope none of them are. I hope we all go out of our comfort zone to teach some kid something he doesn't know right now. And it is one of those things, and the last thing is, of all the things that we do, I played soccer, I coached soccer, I love soccer. But is a sport sometimes something you can do beyond school? Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. We're teaching things, a discipline that they can take with them for the rest of their life. And managing certain things, what I love about these things is they work in conjunction with sports. And I've always said, you can't tell a kid, this is your priority right now. Because we have lives, we have work, we donate our time. We have all of these things as adults that we have to manage. And that's what we're teaching kids. How do we manage all the great things in our lives? So I'm very passionate about it. Thank you on a night that you got a bunch going on.
We have great news for you, Jane. We started the process to move forward last month, and Mr. Ward has some information for you.
Yeah, so
Can I cry?
so it's no secret, right? They all know that you and I talked
We did.
a while back. They knew shortly thereafter, maybe the same day, or at least by that Friday. Usually they hear from me every Friday, unless I'm not here. Or last week I was going to see my son graduate from college. So I'm saying that out loud in the meeting because it was awesome. So I didn't get a chance to say it yet. We've been in touch with insurance. Mary Kay's sitting in the back. We've gotten some responses back from insurance. We took it through the athletic committee as well, which has board members on it. Mr. Fitzgerald's not here tonight, or he'd be the person that could give that report. The board at last month, or 2 months, was it last month? I said, I just need to know, in public session, I said, I just need to know if we're a go or a no, so I can do the next steps. And so publicly, the board said, yeah, we're a go, as long as we can get the proper insurance and make sure it's done safely. I'm paraphrasing the conversation. There's some hurdles with insurance. They're not hurdles that we can't work through. I also reached out to an individual who might be willing to be the advisor, who has some experience with shooting sports. That being said, there's there's contracts and stuff that I can't just give somebody a job. It's got to be posted and all that good stuff. The biggest hurdle for us, based on insurance, and Mary Kay and Kevin both seeing the same emails I have, they told us they will not approve us to do it in the gymnasium because it's too high of a traffic area. So what I asked the person who we have on staff that's involved with shooting sports already, I talked to him and I said, is there a place this can be done off campus? And I know that's not your dream. I'm just trying to get kids started in this. And he said that there was some work being done out at the Fish and Game to do something with the inside area down there, and perhaps we could get started with a program down there. I don't know if that conversation's made it back to the fishing, I don't know who the Fish and Game people are, if that's you or somebody else. But our hurdle right now is that our insurance carrier, Utica National, said no gymnasium. And we don't have a lot of any other spaces, I don't think, that are big enough to do what we're talking about. Because I looked at the video, I looked at the starter pack and all that stuff. But the board's there, we're just trying to figure out how to make it happen.
So, yes, do I have an ultimate goal? Yes. Is anything a hard line right now? No. I want to keep thinking, bouncing ideas. But the president from Dunning State Fish and Game Club was in the store last week, and we were talking, and he said, we have the facility now that a school could shoot at off campus if you wanted to do that. I said, my ultimate goal is to make this part of their, to feel a part and not have to be sent away.
Agreed.
But, like I said, everybody's willing, so Dunham's Bay Fish and Game Club is ready now, and absolutely Hudson Falls Fish and Game Club is working on their building, and we've had that discussion. George Geddy and I, he's the treasurer, we work on the high school play target. I said, come on, board, we can't do this. So, yeah, we're all working, whatever.
Do you know if, so Dunham's Bay or the Hudson Falls Fishing Game, I guess Dunham's Bay is the question, because we already know that they don't charge us over here. Are they looking to charge groups to go in and use their facility, or don't we know yet?
He didn't say, but he said they are, well, when other clubs now look at Hudson Falls Fish and Game Club and they see that next generation of activity, I mean, Pete Quackenbush, so the first year that we had the high school play target, the one with the photo challenge, so we were painting the wall where we were gonna put all the scoreboards, and he's down, he was on the place committee, and he's painting, and he's like, this place it was dead. It was dying on the vine. And now these gentlemen are seeing these kids coming that are respectful, that are acting appropriately, and so I think the other clubs are dying. They're dying to see that same kind of a thing. So, we didn't. I can call him and ask him that question and see if there would be a guard.
Yeah, and obviously I'd rather be in our own community for a lot of reasons, because it's our own community and it's a lot closer. It's easier to get kids there,
Sure. But, I mean, Jim's closest for anything, so I guess we just gotta, if Utica National handles, it's crazy because they ensure the high school play target, they wrote that program for high school play target. And this is, and these kids are prepped, I mean, they're much more disciplined
right?
now. But, hey,
And believe me, I'm not making it up, but I knew that would be the next hurdle, is the insurance.
well, you are all extremely gracious to sit and listen to my presentation, and thanks for the delivery that way.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, so if we could, I don't know if they'd even allow us to do a training, I'm asking because Mary Kay's in the back, they'd even allow us to do a group training for instructors in our gymnasium. Can we ask them though? Because if our insurance will let us do the training here, I assume we would offer to do the training here. I don't think anybody here has a problem, because that would be in August. Well, the gym's pretty busy all year round.
Right.
But maybe in August, there's a period of time where we could consider it not a high traffic, or say it's adults only, that sounds bad. And let us have the training in the gymnasium for all the local instructors.
Yeah,
You know.
and I know that gym time, I can't remember what it's actually, gym time is a crazy thing now.
Yep.
So, and maybe it doesn't have to be off-site, but at least,
Yeah.
baby steps.
Yeah, and it wasn't our gym schedule, because we were gonna make it work. It was, the insurance said, we'll cover it, but you can't have it in the gym. That was like the first sentence in their email back to us.
Okay, thank you all
Yep.
very much.
Well, just send us the check.
Yeah.
Double it if you can, double it if you can.
I'm gonna tell you what, no, because I gotta spread the wealth.
No.
We absolutely, so whatever continued conversation that you pick who can be a contact, and, we'll get it rolling, and I can write the check anytime.
We're gonna find out about the insurance, so that'd be the next thing, to get an instructor trained.
Okay.
Because that also was in the insurance company's email, that we have it appropriately trained. It was very long, but basically an appropriately trained instructor. So,
Okay, I'll talk to Mr. Henderson and see if that's something that you've come across, and you might have a suggestion. So, thank you all.
she can go for now. Yeah, I would say for now, make me your contact. If we get to it being an athletic, we'd have you do the athletic director, but for now, we're not there yet for it to be a school sport. We want to get it started as a club.
Yeah, and he said the ultimate is that you do it so that's the other thing. Well,
You do it in PE.
in gym class and an after-school team, because they do have they have a national tournament, and they'd like to see a team form from the school, from the gym, and then gone to
Got it.
baby steps.
Baby steps.
Okay, do I turn this off?
You can leave it. I don't think anybody else is going to talk, but he'll take care of it.
Thank you all so
Thanks, Jim.
much.
Have a good night. Or stay as long as you'd like. That's not pushing it.
Thank you
All right,
all.
well, have a good dinner.
Anybody else, public comment?
Mr. Schwab, would you like to make some?
Perfect. Okay. That moves us to our committee, personnel. Mr. Canini?
This month, it's pretty routine with the ESY and summer school, sports, and rec programs being assigned. There are 3 individuals, Michael Horan, microcomputer specialist, Casey Jenkins, payroll specialist, and Nicole Carolyn? Okay, I wasn't sure. 52-week technology office, those are the 3 that I'd like to point out. And I think Mr. Ward has 2 additional things.
Yep, so in number 5, other miscellaneous items, that says summer school success pay resolution. Last year, the board, at my recommendation, passed a resolution to supplement the pay received for the BOCES summer school that our elementary teachers run over at the primary school. It's an actual BOCES program. They hire people, they pay their people. We passed a resolution to level up their salary up to a maximum of $50 because there is a pretty large disparity between what an elementary teacher makes to teach summer school and that summer success program run through BOCES and what our high school and middle school teachers make. Our high school and middle school teachers make their salary divided by days and hours, so they get their actual hourly rate. These folks get $37. They were getting, am I getting that right? $47. We advocated through BOCES, so BOCES raised their rate by $3, so we're looking to level up by $3 additional. So really the cost is negligible and the aid comes back, but allows us to make another stride in leveling up our elementary teachers who volunteer for summer school positions over at the Summer Success through BOCES. And I stumbled a little bit, I've been talking a lot. If there's questions, I'm happy to take those from you. Oh, yep. And then we have, we also had the RFP for a new school doctor, medical director, whichever term you prefer. Mrs. Schwab and Mr. Paluncey did have an interview with that person. We only received one response to the RFP, and that was from the doctor listed on there, who I don't have her written down. Jennifer Borden. She's from the same practice as Dr. Nielsen, so she has experience with schools. She seems excited. I don't know, Kevin or Mary Kay, if you want to speak to her at all. I did get to meet her too, but I wasn't in on the conversations they had.
She came in and met with us and Jody Boucher, our Director of Nursing, along with Dr. Nielsen. Seems like it's going to be a very seamless transition from the way Dr. Nielsen handles everything from the way that she does. She also works in Boston Spa too, so she's familiar with the school and how they run. So after reviewing it, we were very, very pleased that it's the same rate that we were paying Dr. Nielsen. And it's a 3-year deal that we're looking for. So we were very comfortable with her, and I know Jody was really excited about her too, so.
Yeah.
So you heard the recommendation, we gotta do an approval on that. So be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Hudson Falls Central School District approves the RFP for school physician Dr. Jennifer Borden, effective June 15th, 25 until June 30th of 2028. Do we have a motion? Crystal, seconded by? Vince, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. All right, and anybody have any other questions for Vince before we, by consent?
You gotta pass
Oh, we gotta do
the
the summer school one too? Okay. All right, be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Hudson Falls Central School District approved supplemental compensation for teachers assigned to the Summer Success Program located at the Hudson Falls Central School District as follows. Assigned teachers will receive supplemental compensation based upon their regular school year hourly rate up to a maximum total compensation of $53 an hour. Total compensation, including normal summer success pay and supplemental pay, shall not exceed $53 an hour. Do we have a motion? Crystal, seconded by Vince. All in favor? Opposed? That carries. And other than the one-line item by consent, that carries. I do oppose to that one, Kelly.
Abstain.
I abstain,
You
I'm
don't
sorry.
oppose, I hope?
I abstain to that.
If you oppose, I'm telling people.
Well,
She's a good
it's okay, it's
she's
just
a good
one.
kid.
Okay. Gwen, I'm sorry. Oh, that concludes personnel. Athletics, Mr. Ward.
Yeah, so Mike's not here. Let me just grab my notes quickly. Unless Amanda wants to go first. I bring extra stuff for tonight's meeting because sometimes there's other stuff we have to talk about.
Dan, while you're looking for those,
Sure.
I don't know if you know the answer to this. I'm asking also the clarification, or she doesn't, Kevin does, but do you know why our insurance company is saying no to it happening on the gym if it's a gym approved program from the school to approve this operating?
So I don't know the answer to that, other than if you look in the state of New York, it's only occurring in Section 6, and I don't know what geographic region that is off the top of my head. I think it's western part of the state, Buffalo area. They do have school area as a NISPA, New York State Public High School Athletic Association approved sport. But that is definitely what they said. We haven't pushed back yet on them to see. I don't know who covers them. There's usually two major insurers, NYSER and Utica National. I'd be shocked if none of the schools out on that side of the state had Utica National, but I think that side of the state is where NYSER is from. Right, Kevin? It's
They're
NYSER.
downstate,
Okay.
and then they pick up some in the western part of the state, so.
So they may be using a different provider, but we don't know any answers yet. I was surprised. Athletics. We met on April 30th, and we received updates on baseball, softball, track, and lacrosse. The JV and varsities will be done by mid-May. We do have some teams that will be hopefully moving into we'd have some teams that will be moving into sectionals. Hopefully they'll do really well in sectionals. One of those, to point out to you, is the girls softball team. Not to slight anybody else, but I was out there tonight because it was their senior night. So they're doing quite well. So just wanted to provide that. The awards night is June 12th at 5:30. It's in the auditorium. There's also the senior banquet thereafter, and they do that in the gymnasium. And it's actually catered by our food service here, and it was fantastic last year. So if you're interested as a board member, there's information on how to get tickets. I could probably strong arm somebody into a ticket, but that is paid for by our Booster Club. So
They all got invitations at their seats.
there's invitations at all your seats. So there you go. I'll be there. That may make you want to go or not want to go.
Are you talking?
I am not, I don't speak. I do not speak at that event. To my knowledge, I don't. Athletic recognitions, we had a conversation about Coach Carpenter. Mr. Carpenter's been approached by a few different entities or individuals about, hey, can we do something for the football team from 1960? I think that's the correct year. Hey, can we do something for this team? Can we do something for this team? So we're working through, and we talked last board meeting about possibly a wall of fame or some sort of display about all these teams that occurs in the hallway. And I might even share an example of a pretty fancy picture of one at some time, either in my update or, so we're still working through that on what to do and what criteria we should use. And I think Ryan had shared that the criteria that some use is that you had to have at least won a Foothills championship, which in the olden days was not called Foothills. Was it the...
Yeah, we're at Foothills.
Before that, this place was part of something else, I think. Would have been late 80s. It would have changed over. I can't remember right now what it was. We talked about coaching evaluations, just an update to board members that there's coaching evaluations that occur every year. Shared the forums, shared the process. Also talked about contractual obligations of the district for outgoing coaches. If we had somebody we weren't going to renew as a coach, that you only have 2 weeks from the end of the season by contract to let that person know. And you saw in your coaching appointments, there are some new coaching appointments. Folks choosing to go. What I would say is that there's hard conversations with folks in all the jobs that occur here, whether it's a school administrator or a teacher or a bus driver or a coach. If there's somebody who we think isn't performing up to standard, we have a conversation with them about improving to standard or about maybe not doing the job anymore. Let's see. We made sure we had the right date for the next meeting because somehow we seem to get our wires crossed on meetings, and that's probably my fault. Worth knowing, committee membership. Tim, again, is getting ready to sing his swan song. He's on the athletic committee, so there will be a seat on there Nothing, no action for tonight, but when we do reorg, we're going to have to fill that committee. So maybe that's something that a new person would want, but if you've been waiting for a seat on the athletic committee, it would be your chance to get one. And I think we had a little bit of change on that committee last year. I think you jumped on, Tim, last year. And at the Luciano track meet, if you don't get the poster or see it online, we had our students were covered nicely in that. Bryn Terry, I can't read my writing, Brad, do you mind?
Bryn Terry, Jameson, I was both won the, Bryn won the triple jump for girls and Jameson won the run for boys. I think finished second.
Yeah, and we had some nice, their pictures were in the poster. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I had in mind. Is there anything that you can think of that I missed? Okay. That is athletics.
Okay. That moves us to audit. Mrs. Grimmer.
Okay, so we just heard our budget hearing, and we're happy to have lots of people.
Sorry. So we just heard our budget hearing, and we're happy to have lots of people in the audience, and some provided comments, which we always appreciate the, the interest of the community in the budget. So just some regular stuff. We have the treasurer's report for the month of March. We had 11 million in receipts and 4.6 million in disbursements, leaving a balance in the general fund of 4.5 million and a total cash on hand of 17.8 million. So we did receive quite a bit of state aid this month, so that's why those receipts are so high. The revenue status report and the appropriation status report are in your packets. There were some budget transfers, but I don't believe any of them were needed board approval on, so they're just in there for your information. Monthly bills are also in there. For the extracurricular account balances, also for the month of March, there was quite a bit of activity in there. The drama club, just still had some activity from the musical. The middle school Team Oswego did a dance. There's some scholarships that account was funded, getting ready for the end of the year. There's Spanish trip also, and the wrestling club had a tournament that they ran, so there was a lot of activity in there, which we always like to see. We also did have a brief discussion about a New York State deferred compensation as potentially something we will explore in the future of adding in for compensation for staff members. So I think we're still looking at that. The RFP for the school physician, we did talk about that as well, which that approval already went through. And then we also need a couple approvals for disposing of some buses that are deemed surplus, or that we would submit for approval to be deemed surplus, and disposal through Auctions International. Are we still thinking something along that line? And then also a donation of a smart board to the Fort Edward Rescue Squad. So that is in there for approval as well. And then, do you want to talk about the busing thing, Mr. Ward or Kevin?
Yep, so you'll see there's another resolution in there that is a board approving us to co-sponsor the Vietnam Traveling Memorial Wall that's coming to our community this summer. If you've ever been to Washington, D.C. and seen the real thing, they're bringing it's a large thing, but a small scale replica, but it's still huge. They reached out to Kevin looking for help transporting people from other places, like parking lots within the village. We haven't had the final conversation yet. So we talked about an audit, and basically audit said if we can get Larry's blessing and insurance will cover us, why wouldn't we support that? So the final word from Larry, he actually provided this resolution to us, is that as long as it's school sponsored, so as long as it's school sponsored and our insurance carrier says they'll cover us. And do we reach out to our insurance carrier? Did you get that answer?
Yes, as long as it's school sponsored.
Then, so all the pieces are falling into place for us to help them get transportation from other lots for people to get there. So it reads as we will be transporting children and other people as spaces available. I don't know that we'll have a ton of children going, but we do have to create an educational component, but I believe there probably is one with this traveling wall that comes. I plan to get my mother-in-law over to see it because her brother passed away in the Vietnam War. So I'm glad it's coming to the community. I think it's going to be really nice. I don't know what kind of turnout they'll get, but whatever we can do to support it. I certainly support this recommendation to provide the transportation. They're running it 24 hours a day. We are not looking to provide transportation 24 hours a day, but we don't know exactly what they want. Kevin will speak to them if you folks approve that resolution. And then there is a resolution to approve the deferred compensation. In audit committee, we talked about it, and I had talked with Mary Kay about it a while back, and I was concerned that it would create a lot of work for the business office. She has assured me that the level of work for the business office is almost nothing. And there's no cost to the school district, but it's a benefit to our employees. So that's there for you. If you need more time to hear more about it, we could do it at a different meeting, but it's definitely on there in case you want to go forward today. And then that wouldn't be available probably till next year, right? It'd be next year?
At any point.
Okay. All right. I think that's everything
Yes, I
else.
think, I think there was, I apologize, I didn't
No, that's all
realize
right.
that that proposal was on there. And then just also the budget vote, we hope the community comes out and supports our budget on May 20th from 12 to 8 in the high school gymnasium.
Awesome. Any questions for Crystal before I go through the resolution? Okay, first we just need a motion to accept the March Treasurer's Report. Amanda, seconded by Megan, all in favor? Opposed, that carries. Be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Hudson Falls Central School District approves the disposal of the following vehicles: Bus 137, Bus 142, and Bus 143. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Crystal? Seconded by Heidi, all in favor? Opposed, that carries. Be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Hudson Falls Central School District approves the donation of the Smart Board to Fort Edward Rescue Squad with the serial number attached. Do we have a motion? Amanda, seconded by Megan, all in favor? That carries. Okay, this one I'm just going to say, need a resolution to approve being co-sponsors with the American Legion for the Vietnam Traveling Memorial Wall with all the attached items. Do we have a motion? Crystal, seconded by Heidi, all in favor? Opposed, that carries. And lastly, be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Hudson Falls Central School District approves the attached 457 deferred compensation resolution. Do we have a motion? Crystal, seconded by Megan, all in favor? Opposed, that carries. Okay, I got them all right? Okay, so that concludes audit. That moves us to transportation. Dr. Steele.
All right, you can read the DOT report there. The trip report is there as well. Just a couple things under miscellaneous. Our fuel management system is outdated, so we've ordered a replacement. The replacement is just an updated version of what we have. We'll be using what existing wiring we can to cut down the cost of installation. Delivery should be this summer. We have an updated, newer version of our routing system from TransFinder, something called TransFinder Plus. The new software adds benefits. For example, the software is web-based, allowing for access from a laptop. Also being web-based allows for faster use of the program. No more lagging or freezing due to the servers being slow. Mr. Cooper is confident that the new software will offer more benefits as far as entering addresses, creating new routes, and editing existing routes as needed. We have one bus being added, number 180. That's been insured, registered with the DMV, and that's been issued to a driver. And as always, we have our fuel prices on the bottom.
Any questions for Brian? Okay, that concludes transportation. That moves us to buildings and grounds. Mrs. Brouwer.
Okay. So Phase 3 of the capital project is submitted as of last week. You guys probably saw in the weekly notes from Dan. Once that's approved, it's looking like maybe September timeline, then Phase 1 and 3, did I get my phases right this month? 1 and 3 will be combined together and rebid, and that actually probably is going to work out better cost-wise because it's going to be a bigger project and all those things that go along with that. And also the volatility that we're seeing now in markets hopefully will have settled by then. So maybe not the timeline we were originally looking for, but hopefully it's going to work out for the best in the end. And Phase 2 is all state contract work, and some of that, as it's coming in, as the contracts are awarded, is being completed, so. And then we just had a quick update on some in-house work. Joe Manny said the Little League work is complete. We had a few trees removed. I don't know if everybody saw, the one came down next to the track. But it was completely rotten inside, so it was a good thing they got it out, even though it's sad that it's gone. And there's a nice new garden that they put in place. They said that they did some updates at Mia's garden over at the primary school, enlarged it, put mulch down, picnic tables, and a bench was added. And I do know that some of the classrooms over there are using it on the nice days, so that's nice. There was a replacement of water valve shutoffs. They worked in conjunction with Village DPW on that project. And then the RAM clinic, the remote area medical clinic, Joe Manny just wanted to reemphasize how much hard work went in from our buildings and ground staff and cafeteria workers to make it a success. So they said there was over 300 cases that were worked on over the course of the 2 days, so. And that's all I had, unless there's any property purchase updates.
There's no property purchase update. There's a resolution in there, and that's to approve the, award the New York State OGS contract in the amount of $2,568,014.43. That's to do the Phase 2 work now that we have that contract complete.
Okay. So we just have one resolution. Be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Hudson Falls Central School District approves the capital project Phase 2 recommendation to award NYS OGS contract in the amount of $2,568,014.43. Do we have a motion? Vince, seconded by?
Second.
Megan, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Okay, that moves us to policy. Mrs. Nesman.
Okay. For as many months as we didn't have a lot, we have a lot. So we got our policy audit from Erie Bosse's. Mike, feel free to step in if I miss anything here. So on your list here, you can see the audit letter from Erie Bosse's. We've got a couple things up top that don't require board action, but we wanted to put on just so you could see them. So there's 1640 on absentee ballots. This is just a title change. We don't need to do anything for that. 5574, Medicaid compliance program. We're not adopting this policy.
We just don't bill enough.
There you go. We have 5840 on artificial intelligence. Still not language significant enough for a policy. So we are working with the tech.
Yeah, just so you know, we're not ignoring the rise of AI and AI in schools. There are a couple spots where we are addressing it internally through the tech committee, district-wide tech committee, and through our student AUP. Starting
What is
this coming.
AUP?
Acceptable use policy. Every kid signs off that they will or won't do certain things with their school tech. So we'll put language in about AI in those two spots. But me and Chris McPherson met, and there's not language enough that gets to your level yet, right? It's similar to the code of conduct conversation we had last year. Sorry.
Okay. And then we have 8440 on homeschooling. It's a title change. There's no action required on that one. Then we have a few for first reads on here. So we have 3311, notification of disclosure of employee disciplinary records. You guys can read all this stuff right there. 5240, school tax assessment and collection, or property tax exemptions. This one's for deletion on there because it's outdated and incomplete. We have 5681, school safety plans. The new text includes a few things. You can read all those things there. 5683, evacuation, lockdown, emergency dismissal drills. This policy requires that the drills are trauma-informed. Policy also includes the details of when the drills are going to take place, and parents receive notifications about those, which we do already right now through Parents Square, correct?
Correct.
Then we have 6190, workplace violence prevention policy statement. We did just adopt a version of this one recently, but Kevin likes this version. And it adds some definitions and Kevin explicitly in that policy. So we're going to go with that one as long as you guys approve it. Yep, all first read. 6550, leaves of absence. Small changes to that policy that just turns 30 minutes for nursing mothers it turns it into paid time. It was unpaid time before, now it's paid. You have 7513, medication and personal care items. Policy allows us to keep inhalers and nebulizers on site. 7521, student with life-threatening health conditions. Similar to the one above, it lets us keep EpiPens in the same way that we can have inhalers and nebulizers. They're going to be in here now too. And then 8460, field trips, simply adds the ability for us to collect field trip permission slips digitally, which is handy for those of us parents who lose paperwork or don't get handed paperwork. So that's nice too, on a personal note. And then we still have a bunch in there for review, but we're going to tackle those next month. They're not emergent right now. So those are all the first reads that we got from the policy audit.
Okay. So since we don't have any second reads, that concludes policy, and that moves us to advocacy. Suzanne Coates.
Okay, so I'm gonna remind you all that this Thursday is the ASBA dinner, and it's recognizing the students who are doing great community-based things. And then I'm gonna hand it over to Dan, because I'm out of words for the evening.
You're hoping I am.
Thanks, Heidi.
The only other item is, I did attend the Village of Port Edward meeting about the PFAS and made another statement during the public comment period. They have pushed the public comment period out to their July meeting, which I put in my calendar. If I'm not away, I'll go and say my piece again.
Okay. Any questions at all? Okay, that concludes our committee agenda. So then moves us to new business. There is a new scholarship request. You guys can see that there's the Bill Coon Memorial Scholarship. It's in regards to participation in the Hudson Falls Little League Youth League, $250 and a plaque annually at least 5 years. Recipient chosen by the Youth Baseball Board members and Bill's family, and there's a May 1st deadline. Any other information you have on that?
No, obviously, anything we can do to recognize our
Absolutely.
kids.
Okay, any questions regarding that? Be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Hudson Falls Central School District approves the Bill Coon Memorial Scholarship. Do we have a motion? Amanda, seconded by? Crystal, all in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay, we did add one piece to the new business, and this is in regards to some conversations that Mr. Ward and I and Megan and I think Heidi had as well regarding some of the information on the testing data that came out last month that we had talked about. So I think just a conversation we had about that, like Megan, do you want to go through some of your concerns?
Wanted to make sure that we as a board were thinking about it and addressing it and not, my fear is that, we had poor results, we've had poor results in the past. It's easy to find reasons, there's a lot of reasons that go into it, but how do we as a board make sure that we're doing our job, and how do I make sure I'm doing my job to move the district forward, to make sure we've got, we do all these wonderful things for kids here, but, we've got basic aptitudes that we need to make sure we're focused on as well. So, and I don't know if it's board conversations and working with Dan and his goals and what, we want, how we want to move that forward, what we would want to see for, a metric to be met, or just how we hold ourselves and hold the district accountable in a measurable way to show people that, yes, this is a concern, we do want to address it, and we have realistic goals in place that we've worked on with Mr. Ward to come up with, right? It shouldn't be a punitive thing. It should be like we're all working together and, we're more documenting how we're putting it on paper, and this is what we want to see and get from A to B. And it's going to be baby steps, but I just didn't want it to go by again and just have it be, yeah, that's bad, and we are working on it, and not necessarily say publicly what we are doing to address it.
Absolutely.
The two, you're talking about the data menu, yes?
Yes.
So, I think all of those data points are important to talk about and know about, but the ones that jumped out at me were our test scores, and specifically the reading, because once you get past third grade, you're reading for content, and so if you don't have really great basic reading skills, then everything else you're trying to learn becomes more difficult. But also the chronic absenteeism, but also knowing what other districts who faced these same things did, if they were districts that had success in turning it around to move the needle. That was just the kind of thing I wanted to be seeing, and Mike said he would have something for me in June.
Yes, yeah, the worry is that by not bringing it to light and talking about it, that somehow everybody thinks that it's okay.
Right.
And I did have a conversation with Megan offline. I probably have had a conversation before with you, Heidi, but it's very frontal for all of us. It's in front of Jess all the time. It's in front of the other principals all the time. It's in front of the special education department all the time. Us talking about it. Where I think maybe the disconnect is, I can take responsibility for that because you're not hearing enough about the work that's happening maybe at the building levels and the conversation we have. You get snippets of that in some of my updates. You get snippets of that in my evaluation, but that's once a year, right? Twice in the year, so we do a mid-year. So I'm happy to have that conversation when we talk about my goals, if that's where we want it to be attached to. But for certain, know that I do not approve of those numbers, but there's a lot of factors that go into those numbers, and we're addressing quite a few of them as we speak. So,
Yeah, I think definitely the effort is there, for sure. But like when we did that whole strategic plan, has that moved the needle on any of this stuff? Because that was a big
it has. So
lift. So just
Yeah.
that
Yep.
kind of thing.
Okay. Yep. So we can provide. We'll get updates. So I can say anecdotally yes, and I can point to some of the things that we're doing. Do I have another set of test scores to show you? No, I don't have another set of test scores to show you. And in my evaluation, and that's going to happen in the executive session. We'll be here a little bit tonight. We're here. Why not make it a party? I did say that we need to get a better presentation that you guys can see, right? And then we can just be adding to each year. Like let's build it out. And I know Mike's loving me here to say that. Let's build it out, and then we just add the next year, and we look. And then if there's something that we are doing building specific, like there's definitely some reading data that's building specific to the middle school the last couple of years. You've been hearing me talk about reading instruction in the middle school. It's definitely there. Where we're doing work with scope and sequence in the high school, because we have curricula that haven't been reviewed in quite a long time, and trying to make sure everybody has the same starting point. Every student's getting the same instruction, no matter which teacher you have. And all stuff you may have heard before from me, but we need to find a better way to get that information to you folks. And that comes back to me, so happy to have the conversation. We are working, and we've got a lot of people working through it. So we'll have some more data. You made a request off the menu, so Mike will be your waiter. That's how I pass it off, right?
Sounds good.
Mike will be your waiter. But we need to get something that's like, here's our doc, and we just look at it a couple times a year. When something new comes out to these 2 pages, we look at those 2 pages or 2 slides or whatever. I think that should not outlive me, but maybe outlive my time here, outlast me. Yeah, I hope it doesn't outlive me.
I've started to build that folder. Amanda's seen you've seen some of it already in the improvement meeting already, but
It's
I am
also-
trying to build that folder so that when I do get requests, I have it ready to go, and also so that we can get on a cycle across the year for you. So you're seeing something this month, something a couple months after that, something a couple months before.
I think it's also I'm often at war with myself because I think that as a board, we have this goal and we want to see data to support or not support what we're doing. But I also think, we talk a lot at our retreats about, the view from up here and getting in the weeds. And I worry I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but it is good information to have. So I apologize if it came off too weedy.
No, it didn't at all.
We offer.
I think the how and who is me, and the what is you folks. Right? I think that's kind of how it works. But we could have that conversation when the time comes.
Anybody want to add anything? Good. Okay. That concludes new business. Now on to the superintendent's report.
Yeah, so these poor students have been sitting here since 6:30. So, without further ado, I will turn it over to both of you. I don't know who wants to speak first.
Okay. So, first thing I want to draw. Oh, yep. I'm colorblind, so I don't. That. Okay. So first thing I want to talk about, 2 Hudson Falls seniors walked the stage at the SUNY Adirondack graduation on Saturday. I was one of those students. They pronounced my name wrong, but I did do that, and it was a very awesome experience to be able to say I walked the stage at a college graduation before my high school graduation. It was a really interesting thing, and the ECCA program, really recommend it for anyone who may have, students in the building, younger students or grandchildren, and it was a wonderful experience. So next I wanted to say our senior trip is coming up in less than a month, which is weird to say. We are going to Six Flags New England for the day. And that is a very exciting opportunity. I've been before, and I'm a huge DC comic superhero fan, so I love all that stuff. It's so cool to be there. Our senior day of service is coming up very soon. I don't know very much about that, I'll be completely honest.
It's the NHS seniors go around all throughout the community, all throughout our school district, and they do service projects. One of our projects is we're doing a science competition at the 5th grade level, and that day we're going to be judging the children's projects, and basically they're trying to get an understanding of the concepts that they need to be learning in 6th grade, so it's just preparing them for the next year. And then there's other projects, I don't know what they are yet.
Speaking of our middle schoolers, other transition, they'll be visiting, our 8th graders will be visiting a high school next Thursday, and that'll be a student guided tour, which is very exciting. They're going to see the buildings. I know my little brother, he's coming into the high school, and he's already met a couple of teachers in a couple of the honors classes. So that's very exciting for me, my brother, and a couple other I know a lot of the 8th graders because of him. So they'll be coming here, and it's a cool opportunity for them to just see. I remember doing that. I didn't get to do it for coming into high school because of COVID, but I did it going into the middle school, and it was so scary. But it was exciting. One of our student athletes broke a school record in the 100 and 200 meter dash, which was very exciting. I heard about that on the announcements this morning.
Yeah, so,
That's why I'm not listed.
yeah, New York State Education Department came out and said that we shouldn't be saying specific students' names in board meetings due to privacy laws. Yes, so if you notice that difference, I had the same face that you just had, Tim. So we're waiting to see how it plays out. Yeah. So,
we did edit this.
You did a good job. You guys did a great job. I can't help what the public does. But congratulations to that student.
Yes.
It was in the newspaper, yeah, that's...
So, another thing about ECCA, the completion ceremony is June 5th, 6 to 8 p.m. Again, I will be there. It's very exciting. These programs really have allowed me to come into myself a lot. I'm continuing on not with this graphic design, but I'm going into broadcasting media. So I'll be learning a lot about like the news and having my own radio show. I'm hoping to become a film and television writer and producer and director. So that's really exciting, and this commencement ceremony is going to kind of be a nice little nail in the coffin not nail in the coffin, nice little period at the sentence, I'll say that, for this chapter of my life, and it's very exciting.
Jacoby, is that at the college? Or is that...
It's at the college.
Did you need to RSVP for that? Just asking for a friend.
So hopefully that friend of yours RSVP'd, because I think if you signed up, you get 2 tickets automatically, and you have to ask for more, so I would ask that friend if... This is another thing I don't really know much about, so I'll probably hand this one over to Kennedy.
Oh, our science research symposium is next Wednesday, the 21st. It's at 6. You should all come. It's really exciting. Student run. Sciencey. You'll learn a lot.
Good night.
The freshmen are doing their end of year field trip to Lake George on Friday. It's very exciting. Where did we say they were going, Miss Hogan?
Lake George.
Shepherd's Cove.
Shepherd's Cove.
Shepherd's Cove is
No, it's across from that restaurant.
They go that place? The restaurant?
I know where that is.
Usher Park, okay.
The food and the waiters,
It's across from George's Restaurant.
they serve drinks.
Usher Park is the one with the tennis courts, and there's a spot down by the lake. It's on the east side of Lake George, across from George's Place for Steak, kind of.
By the Garrison.
Yeah, it's Garrison adjacent.
Oh my God. So Friday is the prom mock prom. No, I was a part of it last year, and I only remember because I had a genuine arm injury. I still have, I don't remember the exact thing, pulled something in my arm, still had the issues, but I was in a sling, and I had to tell all the paramedics, hey, there's a real injury right here. This isn't part of the show. Please be careful. They're like trying to like pull me out of the car without injuring me more. Very, very fun experience to be a part of. Speaking of that, junior prom and the after party are on Saturday. So all the ceremonies, the pictures and junket, all that really fun stuff will be going on that day. It's very exciting. I'm excited to see all my friends in their outfits and see the fun they have. The Sealed by Literacy presentations for Spanish and French students are next Wednesday. The Colonial Fest was one of my favorite things growing up. At the intermediate schools on Friday. I hope all you know. If you don't know what the Colonial Fest is, it's like, you never went? Oh my God, okay. So,
You can go this week?
I walk through the intermediate school every day on my way home, so I just will get to pass through all of it. It's so cool. But they'll bring like animals and reenact like actors who are dressed as like the Native Americans and founding fathers and other people from like the beginning of America's history, and it'll give these children the experience of like living and understanding during that time. It's such a cool experience. I remember I had gone to them while they were packing up because I was waiting for my mom. She was running a little late, and I was sitting on the playground. And I go there, and I was just talking to them, and I was a little kid, and I was like, I appreciate this so much. It's such a cool experience. And they gave me this little rock. It was like one of those, like, it was like a fish tank rock almost, and I have that thing in my room still. I still remember that. It's such a cool experience. Very excited for the younger kids to be able to do that. High school students will be visiting the primary school to promote our music programs, both band and orchestra. The Spanish club is also visiting the primary school next week on Thursday. I don't know exactly what they're doing there.
We are going after school to teach the first through third graders about animals and colors in Spanish. Very exciting stuff.
And finally, right, is that it?
Yeah.
The choir and orchestra concerts are Thursday this week, and if I'm not mistaken, this is our choir teacher's final choir concert.
Yeah, you guys should come. The last one for us.
She's been here for years. My mom had her, and it's a very bittersweet and beautiful thing to be saying goodbye to her, and she's been very important to our school and to helping a lot of our students and even some of our educators here through very rough days. So if you could, come and be there for her on her last concert, it'd be very nice for her. And that does it for student liaisons.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jacoby and Kennedy. Appreciate it.
Well, listen, it's not Jacoby, so.
I got it right? I said it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what they said, Jacoby?
You want to hear the funniest part? We had it phonetically spelled on the card. JUH-KOH-BE was on the card so that they would say it correctly. And I won't name the name, but another Hudson Falls student was there. They said her name wrong too. Oh. So.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I'm glad I got it right. Thank you for that, I appreciate it, and sorry I couldn't make our meeting today, I had a doctor's appointment.
No worries.
Very short, but Jess is, Mrs. Hogan's been working, she received several students who are interested in being board members for next year, so she's working on that announcement. So you're allowed to have a board member, so we'll have our board member, student board member, and an alternate, but only one would sit at the table, so it'll be a little bit different setup next year when the new law comes into effect. It's me, right? BOCES election and budget vote, there's a link to the results there, but I sent them out, I think I sent them out a while back for you guys. The budget vote date is there, we've heard that a few times, May 20th, noon to 8 p.m. in the high school gymnasium. And we also will have the celebration of the arts, very similar to last year. Mrs. Haburn and Mr. Smith are ready to roll with their departments on that. Please take some time to walk around and check that out. You already heard about the RAM clinic, but by hosting that, 300 people access services at no cost to them. And we actually had some pretty good coverage in one media outlet. I forget which I don't know which one it was. There was something that Joe had linked that he sent, and we received it. It's linked right in there for you. Sorry if you clicked on the link. And Joe received a really nice thank you note from the RAM clinic organizers for all the work that his people in the cafeteria do to make them feel welcome here, and the people that come to take part in that feel welcome. Superintendent eval, we do need to have a discussion in executive session. CEP, we got a typo on that. CEP has been renewed. That's a community eligibility provision for free lunch and breakfast for all. So we've been renewed for another 4 years. We were also able to extend our summer feeding program. It's been traditionally held in the primary school. It reaches some students because we have a program there, but now it will also be at the IS and at Derby. That's huge in reaching more of our students. It's really people 18 and under can be fed through that program. So getting down to Derby is going to help. NISBA, I put the dates on there, October 23rd through 25th. That's way ahead of time, but we need to know way ahead of time who's interested in going and who's going to go. So take a look at your calendars. I'll probably have Kelly put down again next month because it's like buying, I've said this before, it's like getting Taylor Swift concert tickets. If you want to be in the hotel nearby, we need to be on there buying those tickets right away. It's in New York City again. So for people who like the city, we took the train last year, which I thought was nice. That would be my plan unless folks want to do something different. You heard about I'm going to skip one. You heard about the science symposium, and you had the student liaisons report there at the bottom. I'm going to go back up to calendar update. So there's a resolution under my update about me recommending to the board that you have May 23rd, that's the Friday preceding Memorial Day, as a school holiday with the use of an unused snow day. We have multiple unused snow days. We did have 2 snow days this year. We had 185 days on our calendar. We need to have 180 days, so doing the math, that's 183 minus this one would be 182. That requires board action. 2 other things for the board to be aware of as part of that. The Thursday preceding the last Friday, so Friday the 27th, we will not have students here, and on the 26th we will not have students here because we're trying to get some of the ELA training done prior to summer break without having to pay people to come back. And we do have enough instructional days The last 2 years, we haven't had students come on the Friday anyways. This would be an earlier announcement of that for folks. So that would allow us to have at least a half day of training in each of the grade levels, pre-K through 8, before everybody goes home, with the proper instructors from the companies that do the training for us. So the only one that requires action, and if you guys don't want to have a holiday for the district on the 23rd, that's certainly up to you folks, but we do have the day. Might be the last year you can do it, because next year we have to worry about the heat closures. This year, we don't have to worry about it because the law is not in effect until September 1. That's my superintendent's report.
Okay. Okay. So you heard the recommendation regarding the school holiday, so be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Hudson Falls Central School District makes a motion to approve a school holiday on May 23rd, 2025 due to the remaining balance of snow days, pending at least 2 snow days being available as of that date. We have a motion. Amanda, seconded by?
Second.
Crystal, all in favor? Opposed? That carries.
Thank you.
Okay. And we do have a need for executive session, and that is to discuss superintendent eval and
Negotiations.
managerial negotiations.
Managerial confidential negotiations.
We have, need a motion?
So moved.
Wow. Heidi and Amanda, all in favor?
We have a couple actions, but we won't come back. The possible action while we're still on the video would be the board approving my recommendations for managerial confidential and our assistant superintendent and director of business contractual changes for